welcome you all to the Dimensional Energy Plant and Ribbon Cutting today. Now, I am Elisa Miller-Out. I am a member of the Board of Directors for Dimensional Energy. I'm going to just be going over the flow of the event real quick, introduce some of these amazing speakers as well. So we are going to have a ribbon cutting, followed by a tour of this plant, led by some of the amazing Dimensional Energy staff members who are here today. I'm told there will be champagne as well. You will want to, for the tour, you'll be wanting to gather these hard hats. If you don't already have one, get your fantastic Dimensional Energy hard hat on. There are also some safety glasses and goggles that you can wear for the tour as well. And these are actually yours to keep. So these are souvenirs that you can take home with you after today's events. After the tour, there will be a live wax pull, which will be demonstrating some of the products that we make here at the plant, and so that you're going to get to see the technology in action. You will also get to take home the commemorative glass vials that have the wax product in them. So make sure, if you did not already pick one of those up, that you take one of those home with you as well as another souvenir from your visit today. Most importantly, later tonight, it gives me great pleasure to invite you all out for a celebration at 6 p.m. tonight at La Co, that's L-A-C-O, restaurant in downtown Tucson. We will be gathering for dinner. That is at 201 North Court Avenue, and that is happening tonight at 6 p.m. So you are all invited to join us there as well. And now I would love to introduce our first speaker, Jessa Turner, who is the Director of Communications at the University of Arizona Tech Park, our hosts here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I heard the first bottle of champagne pop, so that was a good omen. Welcome, as she had mentioned, to the University of Arizona Tech Park. We're a premier research park with a significant economic engine. We actually have a $2 billion annual economic impact here. And that's based on the dynamic interactive community. That's everyone from emerging technologies to tech giants. We have over 100 companies here and 6,000 knowledge workers. We're pretty proud of our community here at the UA Tech Park. So welcome. You're standing right now at the Solar Zone. And this is one of the nation's largest multi-technology solar demonstration site plugged into the grid. And with that, you have the Living Laboratory, which occupies 223 acres of land. We host 8 companies, 10 different technologies, with the capacity to generate 25 megawatts of power and 10 megawatts of solar power storage. Those technologies are tested here and evaluated side by side under identical operating systems, and that allows researchers to really understand what's best, creating this test bed for new technologies. And today we're going to see one of the greatest ones under the Solar Zone. Dimensional Energy became a tenant of the UA Tech Park in 2021, immediately after they completed their Carbon X Prize. Woo-woo! Dimensional Energy leased the Solar Zone at was basically just a dirt lot at the time. And at the heart of our UA Tech Park is our business incubator. They worked with Dimensional Energy as they do all the technology entrepreneurs, guiding them through an educational process of a 28-point roadmap to success. This included hands-on support from people who have a track record of success. And in 2022, they officially had that membership with our U of A Center for Innovation, and they transformed this site. It took about 2 years for the facility, and they coordinated with our Tech Park staff. We have an expression here at the Tech Park. We say that we move at the speed of business. What that means is that we work rapidly to ensure that businesses can swiftly scale and accommodate their business model. And let me tell you, we've seen that drive in action with Dimensional Energy. They have kept us on our toes, like the time that the crane showed up unannounced to install a new transformer. Let me tell you, Dimensional Energy COO Dan Kogan has definitely kept our VP of Facilities and Construction, Patrick Murphy, on his toes. Or the time that I received an email saying that the international CNN reporter was going to fly out tomorrow to do a showcase piece on their program, Tech for Good, featuring dimensional energy. It's exciting things like this that make us really celebrate what dimensional energy has done. Dimensional energy is exactly the type of company that we seek to support out here. Innovative and tenacious, and we're happy to celebrate their accomplishments today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessa, and thanks for hosting here at the amazing Tech Park. And I will also let everyone know that after the event, there will be shuttles taking you back to the parking area if you parked over there as well. And now I get to share just a tiny bit about the amazing founder of Dimensional Energy, who I am about to introduce. So while I've been on the board for just about over a year now, my journey with Dimensional Energy goes back about 15 years to when I first met Jason Salfi, the CEO and founder. He was one of the first people I met when I moved to Ithaca, New York, and our career trajectories have had many amazing intersections since then. So Jason was an early leader in the B Corp movement, which is a movement of for-profit companies that want to measure their social impact and actually avoid greenwashing, but actually walk the walk, measure what matters, and benchmark themselves willingly against other companies in the industry. Jason inspired me to make my software company a B Corp, and together we joined that movement for businesses that are focused on sustainability very early on. Later, we both served as mentors in a group called Nexus New York that was an early proof of concept center, which is where some of this dimensional energy technology actually was tested out in the very earliest days. We later both joined each other as innovation advisors at NYSERDA, the New York State Energy and Research and Development Authority, which is, of course, a New York State agency that oversees tremendous amount of climate innovation, as well as some of the most groundbreaking climate policy across the country. When Jason told me about what he was working on at Dimensional Energy, and when I had an opportunity to see the early beginnings of the company, I was so inspired by this mission and so inspired by the incredible impact potential that I joined very early on as an angel investor and was very excited when he asked me to join the board and take on an additional leadership role with the company. Jason is truly one of the most inspiring, authentic, genuine leaders that you will find in this industry, and it gives me such great pleasure to call him a colleague, a mentor, and a friend. And let's give it up for Jason Salfi, CEO of Dimensional Energy.
Thank you. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Jessa. I just want to start out with a theme around gratitude. Is this better? So I'll start out with a theme around gratitude. I want to thank all of you for coming. It means a lot to see you all here. I want to thank everybody who showed up from state, local, and national government. We have representatives here from the Mayor Romero's office, Representative O'Halloran's office, Senator Sinema, and Senator Kelly's office, which really exemplifies to me that this technology's time has come because they represent the people. And the people know that it's time to have renewable fuels. I'd also like to welcome folks from the Airport Authority. It's wonderful to know that we have your support as well. It's hopefully a dream someday that we may make fuel for the Tucson Airport. I'd also like to thank the Tech Park, of course, for hosting us. And I'd like to thank the Earth for providing the molecules that we use to make the green fuels that we would like to provide for you all. And as Elisa said, we emerged from a lot of places. You know, we emerged from here now. We emerged from the state of New York, where we had the great support of Cornell University early on. One of my co-founders, who is here somewhere, David Erickson, was one of the early technology providers. So this technology emerged from part of his lab at Cornell University, where he's now the director of the engineering department. As Elisa mentioned, we emerged from the Nexus New York Clean Energy Accelerator, and if it wasn't for the vision of Doug Berkeley and seeing that he could put together founders, technological founders with entrepreneurial expertise, we may not be here today. So I'd really like to thank Doug as well. And over time, with the support of Cornell University, we emerged to get support from the National Science Foundation and enter the Carbon X Prize, as Elisa mentioned, or Jessa mentioned. Through their support in accelerating our technology to come out of the lab, we had major innovations with new staff members like Bradley Brennan to help pivot the technology towards what you see here today, and innovate new catalysts, new reactors to transform carbon dioxide into a usable form to become the next generation of fuels and products that we see for our society. And from here, you know, what happens next? You know, you really have to wonder, you know, where could this all go? And I got to sort of look under the hood yesterday when I met many members of the Dimensional Energy team for the first time ever. I had the great honor of gathering with the whole team here. You know, some of us had never met in person before. We had people from all over the country, and we all gathered. And I learned a lot of great things about this team. First, there's a lot of love for each other on this team. I'll tell you that much. Next, we actually have a two-time national bowling champion. At least 30% of us are amazing chefs. So if you ever need a meal or and you don't need any jet fuel, we can definitely cook you cuisine from around the world. I'll tell you that much. And one of our team members has actually been hit by an owl twice. So anyway, we have an awesome team. I also learned about a new law. You guys have all heard of Murphy's Law. There's a new law called O'Toole's Law I just learned about. And the law is this. Murphy was an optimist. So things definitely go wrong. But anything that you could throw at this team, they will fix, they will rectify, they will make happen a functioning installation like we have here today. The amount of problems on the technology side, the operation side, and the integration side that this team undertakes every single day to elevate this technology, to make it scalable, to make not just 1 barrel of fuel, not just 100 barrels of fuel, but tens of thousands of barrels of fuels and products every day is amazing. And it's all happening right here at this technology center in Tucson. So I want to just say, let's give it up for the Dimensional Energy team, please. I also want to say none of this could be done without the funding from any of our investors. And we have Eric from New Climate Ventures, Mike Leskinen from United Airlines Ventures here in the audience with us today. We have a multitude of other investors that have come to support us. And when we go to people, say at this early stage of the technology development, they have to believe in us, and that's where our team really comes in and shines. So again, really grateful for our team at Dimensional Energy. So I want to just maybe go into a little bit of our thesis and our mission. And so you know, our thesis is this, that there is enough carbon dioxide right now emitting from flue stacks and from the atmosphere that exists in the atmosphere to replace all the fossil carbon that is used in the production of fuels and products today. So if you take a step back and think about that for a second, that means we could remove the very source of carbon emissions and use past emissions to actually make the fuels and products that we make every day with clean energy and carbon dioxide. That's a really marvelous thing. That is part of the solution. What inspired me to start this company was that there was so much great emphasis on and energy towards renewable electricity and efficiency, but the gap for folks like the founders and early members of this teams were around the molecules. If we're going to have the basis of a clean energy economy, we need to deal with how we deal with our molecules. It's not just the electrons, it's the molecules too, just to get a little nerdy here on stage. And so we sought out to find a solution to bring the world clean and renewable molecules. And that is from a carbon intensity perspective, but also from a material health perspective. So some of my background is in natural resources management. So when we think about the decarbonization of things, Dimensional Energy is also committed to material health, recyclability, and sustainability holistically, and how that fits into a circular economy. So there's a lot of big things to weave together, but it's important that as we transition our energy economy, that we transition it so that we don't create a whole host of new problems to be solved by the next generation. So I just want to put a pin in that for all the entrepreneurs that are out there listening today. So our mission is to decarbonize the fuels and feedstocks that we use every single day. And from here, we really need to be humble and not say that we're the ones who can judge how good we're doing. And this is where I really want to promote the need for all of us in the energy community and all of us that care about this transition to rally around single life cycle analysis standards under which we can all be measured by the same grade and quantify the carbon intensity of our fuels. So you hear things like carbon negative, carbon neutral, less carbon intensive. What does this all mean? This means a lot of really hand waving, if you want my opinion. What matters is that we rally around third-party verification of the carbon intensity of what we're doing so that we know that we're going to go to great efforts to build wonderful plants like this, that it's going to actually do something for the atmosphere, for the global climate that we need to keep from warming above 2 degrees Celsius, hopefully 1.5 degrees, and actually do what we intend, okay? And now that we've sort of measured this carbon intensity score, how do we look at other societal sort of implications of the last couple hundred years of energy infrastructure development? Where can we create ways of sharing the wealth among all the different sectors of our economy, all the different citizens of our economy and world and society? So Dimensional Energy is trying to create business models that are equitable and just for the clean energy transition that we're all undertaking. We don't know how that's going to look today. We want to co-create that. We just want to say that we have this intention, and we want to work with people who also have that intention, shared goal for a mutually viable and prosperous economy into the future that doesn't warm the planet or poison the earth. So that is what we're for. So maybe I should just go into what we're doing next, and then I'll introduce some of the next speakers that we have. From here, we're headed up north. We've developed a platform that is scalable today, and we just landed our first contract, commercial contract with Lafarge Canada, where we'll be integrating a similar operation to this to on-site emissions, where we'll take carbon dioxide that is pulled from flue gas, that is captured from an on-site carbon capture unit that's there today, integrate our system in with that, and make a fuel that could be used right from that very production. That'll be done with hydropower, renewable electricity, and from there, we see the opportunity to scale that and go to several thousand barrels per day if the opportunity presents itself. The energy's there, the carbon's there, and the offtake is there. These are the types of projects we look to develop. So if you're listening to this and have some of those factors and you want to scale some clean molecules in your neighborhood, please contact us. Next, we are working on a larger scale project in Niagara Falls area, New York, and our funding partner is Seneca Holdings, and they've been great to work with so far. We're looking at the opportunity to build a 200-barrel facility there using Niagara Falls hydroelectric power. This is a project that is being developed in feasibility today. It would be a big jump for us. It'd be our first commercial plant. We'd be looking to do that in mid-decade. After that, thousands of barrels a day worth of production is what we'd like to unlock the potential for. We want to do that all around the world. We'd like to do that in Greece potentially with this gentleman, Nick, who's in the front row. We'd like to do this to serve our partners at United Airlines who are here today and spread the clean molecules that we can produce into airports and reduce the carbon emissions from these parts of our daily lives that are going to be necessary if we want to continue life as we have it today. So without funding from people like Eric, who I'd like to introduce you right now to, we would not be here today. So it's really, I want to, with gratitude, introduce Eric Rubenstein from New Climate Ventures. I was introduced to Eric last year. He and his team over at New Climate Don and Matt's somewhere in the audience here, believed in dimensional energy early on. They really dove in with 2 feet. And Eric is a guy I talk to every week. He's joined our board. You know, another really great aspect of our team is that we have a board of advisors. Howard Brands, who's in the audience here today with us, has been a great mentor to me over the last 5 years, 6 years of running this company. And anyway, without great investors, great mentors, great advisors, like Lind, who's here, I mean, I could just go on, but the danger is I'll forget somebody, so I better just stop now. So anyway, let me just bring Eric up, and let's give it up for dimensional energy and climate tech investing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, appreciate the introduction. And Eric Rubenstein with New Climate Ventures. Pleased to be representing both New Climate Ventures here and the board of Dimensional Energy. And we probably actually met 2 or 3 years ago. So in COVID years, it might feel like a year ago, but it's been a while, and it's been great getting to know Jason and the team. And I was specifically excited about what Dimensional Energy was doing because they're helping the transition in a different way than what others are doing. Others might be creating a new vehicle, say an electric vehicle in a lot of instances, that is going to transform the way that we operate in the world and move around. But dimensional energy is actually creating things that we know today and that we can touch and smell and understand, like the fuels exactly like the fuels, even better than the fuels that we're using today in the sense of diesel fuel and jet fuel. And that's important as we're transitioning, because a lot of the technologies that are out there are not ready to be deployed today at scale to replace all the vehicles, let's say, that are in the world. And that's going to take many decades to get to a point where we're at that point in time. It could take longer even. And that's something where during that transition, we're going to need drop-in replacements for the fuels and the things that we're using every day, whether that is jet fuel, which I was very excited when I was shown this jug here a couple hours ago. It actually has what's basically jet fuel in it, and it's coming off of the plant just behind y'all. And that's something that's really exciting, because this plant can make jet fuel like what we're using in airplanes today. It can make diesel fuel, it can make waxes, it can do a lot of amazing things. And to think that this fuel is already in the market, meaning it's been produced off of a plant, and there's a physical representation of this that we can test and put into vehicles for testing purposes, is a step in the right direction. We need to scale that very quickly. And that's what New Climate Ventures we're excited to be helping with, is providing those early stages of capital to be able to help companies like Dimensional Energy and others in the carbon reduction and avoidance spaces get to those points where they can really prove that technology to that last bit where they're actually producing the fuel, and then where that can scale from there. And that's where we need great partners like United Airlines, who can take that fuel and do something with it and actually put it to work, and help draw in the other actors in the community, such as, say, the oil companies, who also need to decarbonize and are today producing fuels and also need to transition their businesses. They can transition their businesses by incorporating more technologies like this into what they're doing. And it doesn't just have to be oil companies. It could be governments in the form of airports or otherwise. It could be cities that are wanting diesel for their fleets, or to start providing into the community as a revenue source even. There can be many different ways that this can be deployed. So with that, I'd like to introduce Mike Leskinen from United Airline Ventures, and excited to have them as a partner and here today.
Well, thank you all very much. It's a real privilege to be here today, and I want to kick off following Jason's lead in talking about being of gratefulness. To decarbonize air travel is going to be one of the most difficult industries to decarbonize. And our competitors are buying offsets, trees around country clubs that we're not going to be cut down anyways. Other offsets that really is not changing the carbon in the atmosphere. And it takes intrepid entrepreneurs like Jason to do it the right way, which is a harder way to decarbonize the business. And so Jason, thank you very much for that. United Airline Ventures was formed about a year ago, but in spirit we've been around for about 3 years. I spent 20 years on Wall Street investing in aerospace and defense before joining United. And there hasn't been any innovation in the sector really since deregulation. And we're trying to innovate in lots of ways. You've seen what we've done trying to bring back supersonic travel and bring electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, electric flying taxis. And when you think about what we do on the ground to decarbonize the business, we can do that with batteries. Technology today is working, and so we're working really hard to do that. We had an announcement in a battery company last week, and we can do that, and that's great. And for short haul travel to and from the airport, electric flying taxis are going to be here. It's going to be real. It's going to take some time, but that's going to decarbonize the trip to and from the airport. And for short haul travel in the air, regional flights, we've partnered with a company out of Sweden called Heart Aerospace that with battery technology today is going to be able to decarbonize those 200-mile trips. And I think in the fullness of time, it might be 300-mile or 400-mile trips with 30 seats. But if you want to go to Europe, if you want to fly to Asia, if you want to go to South America from the US, the only way, because of the energy density of jet fuel, the only way is sustainable aviation fuel, the only real way to solve this problem. And so lots in the industry are chasing sustainable aviation fuel. In fact, United Airlines has spent more, purchased more, burned more sustainable aviation fuel than the rest of the airline industry combined. And so it's a really important step. But the fuel, the sustainable aviation fuel today is produced in a HEFA-based process from fats, oils, and greases. And I don't know about the rest of you. I like French fries, but I'm not eating more French fries, and I am traveling more. And so there's a scarce supply of that feedstock. And with that scarce supply of feedstock, but all of the hype around sustainable aviation fuel, the price of that feedstock is being bid up. And so the cost of sustainable aviation fuel, when you buy more of it, doesn't go down. There's no economy of scale. There's a diseconomy of scale, which is making the cost of that fuel higher and higher. And what that's going to do is that's going to stop global travel. It doesn't work. You can't have $12 a gallon jet fuel and have United Airlines connect people and unite the world, which is our mission. And so we're on a mission at United Airlines Ventures to go out and source alternative feedstocks to produce sustainable aviation fuel, but alternative feedstocks that are working hard to shrink that green premium, because we want all of our customers to be able to travel. There's a reason there hasn't been a world war since the jet aviation industry has been formed, and that's because we got to get out and touch people. We got to get out and connect. And so we need to make sure that there's an economic path. So as Bill Gates writes, we need to shrink that green premium. And so what I'm so excited about Dimensional Energy doing is that not only can we scale, can scale limitlessly with supplies of carbon dioxide and clean green electricity. You can scale limitlessly, but you can also bring that premium down. And so with the technology, with the reactor technology of Dimensional Energy, we think that in the fullness of time, we'll be able to bring that cost down to parity with Jet A, which means that the flying public gets to have the experience they have today, and we're doing it without hurting the earth. And so we're so excited here at United Airlines to be a big supporter of Dimensional, and I'd like to give a round of applause to Jason and his team for this hard work that they're doing, and let all of you get out and see this amazing technology here in the field. So thank you all very much.
All right, yeah. So, well, thank you, everybody. Amazing group of people up here today. Thank you, Elisa. I'm not sure what happens next, so would you like to help us out?
I think Jasmine's going to help us out here. But I think we're going to start the, yeah, folks, I think we are going to grab your hard hat if you don't already have one. Grab a glass of champagne from right over there, and we're going to be doing a ribbon cutting followed by the tour.